This TFMR podcast is brought to you by Cyber Metals, a new digital precious metal platform from your friends at JM Bullion. Visit cybermetals.com for more details. Welcome back to the TF Metals Report podcast highlights for the week of November 7th through the 11th, 2022. Another great week for the precious metals. It all began with a short squeeze on Friday, November the 1st. We wondered if that would continue. Would it be short squeeze number 4? Certainly started to look that way on Monday the 7th. We took a close look at the chart of COMEX Digital Silver, the December contract. Noted what looks to be a powerful base, even a reverse head and shoulder on the chart, with a breakout at 21. Would silver then break out? Make a new higher high? Could it get above 21? Could it even get maybe all the way to the 200-day moving average? All of those things would play out over the course of this week, and it's where we began on Monday the 7th. Then you've got silver. This is an interesting chart. Remember, we've been following silver, hoping that it would turn and lead the way back up the way its collapse in April led everything down. Well, you can see a number of things here. There's a trend line off that low on the 1st of September that has held very well. You can see us extending above the 50-day moving average again, which is very, very nice here in short squeeze number 4. Again, the first one in late July, second one in early September, the third one in late September and early October, and the fourth one now. But again, this is the third of those 4 short squeezes that has run into stout resistance at 21. 21 having been support for 2 months in May and June. And now resistance really needs to make a higher high. Even just marginally, somewhere up around 2150, just exceeding that high back in early October. Now, you could also say there is a inverse or reverse head and shoulder on this chart. Again, the two shoulders there at about 18 and a quarter-ish. The head down here at 1750, the shoulder line there at 21. Lots of things to be interested here. There's still a pretty substantial hedge fund short position that remains being able to be squeezed. So the COT is positive as well. We can get through there. We can make a run into 22. And man, a weekly close back above 22 for 2 weeks in a row, and we'd really be on to something. Now, we may not be ready to do that just yet. So let's just watch 21 all week long. And our focus on COMEX Silver continued on Tuesday the 8th. Short squeeze number 4 was definitely upon us. Price slashed through 21 and actually made a move all the way to the 200-day moving average. Silver hadn't even touched that technical level since late April. And now here it was again. Very good sign. And again, all part of what we discussed on Tuesday the 8th. Silver on the daily chart. Finally, again, another higher high, getting above those highs from early in October. And again, notice the 200-day, 2170. We tapped 2172. Get above that 200, but it's going to be stout, and 22 is going to be stout. We could extend to 22 on a false breakout above the 200-day and then begin, and then pull back, that sort of thing. But again, whatever, I don't care. Making a higher high. Came out of, we went through this chart yesterday with the reverse head and shoulder and everything else. Go back and listen to yesterday's podcast if you missed it. But everything on this pattern here suggests, again, the low is in. Turning the corner. Consolidation and now finally breaking out. And since silver led everything down, maybe silver is going to lead everything back up. I hope all those words of encouragement over the last 3 or 4 months have gotten you to remain strong, remain firm. All the scaremongers and perma bears out there talking about gold going to 1,400 and silver going to 14 and all that crap. Oh, it was always a possibility. But you know what you heard from me, that was very unlikely to happen. And hopefully that all helped you to hang in there. Tuesday the 8th also brought a long-awaited breakout in COMEX gold. So on Wednesday the 9th, we waited to see, was it just a false breakout? Would price quickly just reverse and fall backward? And again, important breakout here. Gold had trended lower since March and had been mostly below its 50-day moving average since April. And so to finally break out and close substantially above both that trend line and the 50-day was a very positive development, all of which we talked about on Wednesday the 9th. Gold on the daily chart. Remember we talked about this yesterday too. You spend so much time in this downtrend from March, 8 months. You spend so much time, really, since April, under the 50-day, that when you finally break above and run the stops, it really would be surprising if it didn't pull back and test the 50-day for support. Okay? Now, that's all the way down here at 1680. I told you yesterday, I'd rather that not happen. I'd rather just keep going to 1760. And it may, again, depending on the reaction of the CPI tomorrow, whatever the CPI is, and then whatever the bond market and dollar reaction is to it. But after all this time under the trend line and under the 50-day, you sure would think it would come back at least close to testing it at some point. So we'll watch for that. Thursday the 10th brought another stout rally in the COMEX precious metals after the latest U.S. inflation report brought a big sell-off in the dollar index. And when the machines, the algo trading machines, see the dollar fall, they typically buy the COMEX precious metals. And that's what happened on Thursday the 10th. The dollar fell sharply. We'll have to watch it now very closely going forward. It's probably due for a bounce. But for now, on Thursday and again on Friday, it was falling sharply and providing very good buying support for both COMEX digital gold and COMEX digital silver. But before we get to that, look at the dollar index. So I've been drawing you this little channel here, right? Got a high up there to near 115 in late September, then a low to 110, then a high up to 114 in October, then a low last week to below 110, and then a lower high to 130. So this is now 2 lower highs and 2 lower lows. Now you can clearly see that it's broken out of the little channel here that I was drawing. You can clearly see the importance of 108 too. A couple dabbles down there below 108 intraday in late August, early September. Closing below 108 today. So you could look at this chart and you could make a case that the route could continue. Maybe, again, not so much tomorrow. Probably get a little green candle at some point tomorrow. Wouldn't surprise me, at least. But failure to get back into this channel, we could work down through this month into early December, all the way down to 105. Down there where near the 200-day moving average is. Trim another 3 points off the dollar index. More upside in the metals. Again, just in the last 5 days, dollar index gone from 113 to 108. And that's where gold has gone up, $140 and silver's gone up $3. And on Friday, November the 11th, we wrapped up another very strong week in the COMEX precious metals. Gold up again today. Silver doing pretty well just to be even after the run it's had the last 6 or 7 days. For the week, gold was up $83 and silver was up 88 cents. And it sets us up with some very nice weekly charts. Gold finishing up near 1770, well back above that important 1700 level. Remember, gold had traded in a sideways range for almost 2 years between 1700 and 2000, and when it broke down below 1700, there were concerns it would fall farther, but now it's back above, and that's a very good sign. We closed the week talking about silver, however, because that's how we began the week. Silver trading above its 50-day moving average and actually briefly above its 200-day moving average and above the critical 22 level, which, like gold, had served the bottom part of a range between 22 and 28 for about a year and a half. So it certainly looks like the metals have consolidated, based, and have now turned the corner ahead of what will be a very strong 2023 for all commodities. Hopefully you bought some physical metal on the drawdown, and hopefully these weekly podcast summaries have given you the confidence to do it. Buy some more metal this weekend and be ready for very, very interesting end of 2022 and all of 2023. Thanks for listening. We'll have another podcast highlight program for you next week.